Alderman Johnson, Alderman Nicholson, Alderman Burnett, and Alderman Weary. I have an approval of the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Alderman Nicholson, second by Alderman Burnett. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. C, approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Alderman Nicholson, second by Alderman Johnson. Any discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. D, regular business. Number 1, consideration with possible action on the review of the bids and budget for the Colburn Pool renovations.
Since we covered everything at the INS, I wasn't sure if we were going to split up the conversation. We can just receive and place this on file.
So moved.
Motion by Alderman Nicholson. Second. Second by Alderman Burnett. Discussion. Those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 2, consideration with possible action on the approval of allocating $170,000 from the existing beach funding for an amendment to the scope of work for Patrick Engineering to complete the engineering associated with the beach pier and boardwalk project at Bay Beach Amusement Park. Record.
All right, so we've been talking about this project for a while now. So Patrick Engineering has been hired to do all of the engineering associated with getting the permits and all of the construction drawings associated with the beach, the pier, the boardwalk, and the bathhouse with concession stand. When they were hired, the scope of work really wasn't known what studies were going to be required by the DNR in order to pull the permits and get the required permits from the DNR. So we did work through that. Their initial fee was all grant funded, so there was $250,000 in grant funding. So there was no city dollars put into that. So we have spent the $250,000. What you see before you is kind of what's left to the scope of work to finish the project up. So this kind of goes in very clear detail about what they're going to be required to do in order to get construction-ready documents so that we can bid this project out for the fall. Because all the grant funding has been used, I am requesting that we use a portion of that $5 million that was set aside in bonding for the beach project to pay for this additional engineering.
Alderman Johnson.
Just to be clear, Dan, is this, I mean, this is kind of labeled as an amendment to the agreement. Is this really
Correct.
kind of like exercising phase 2?
It basically is. It's exercising phase 2 or finishing up the scope of work. Because the amendment or the original contract, like I said, we weren't sure really what the scope of work was going to be, which studies were going to be required. So it really is technically an amendment to it, but
Sure.
you can look at it as though it's a phase 2 of the contract.
So
also.
this was an expected additional agreement to come forward. This isn't something brand new that hit us out of nowhere.
Well, I think when we first started the project, we were all hoping that the project in its entirety would come in at $250,000 or less. But as, you know, additional studies were required and time, you know, spent on the project, once we learned more about it as we got into it, we learned that it was going to exceed the $250,000.
Is this going to leave us short on the construction end?
It should not.
Any other questions from the committee? Any motions? Motion by Alderman Burnett to approve.
Second.
Second by Alderman, is that Nicholson? All right. Any discussion on this? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Number 3, consideration with possible action on the request by On Broadway to allow the sale of alcohol, beer, and malt beverages only and concessions at Light Memorial Park on Tuesday nights, January 18th to August 27th during the Levitt concert series.
And I'll have James present this.
So, we had an opportunity, actually, I don't know if you guys remembered, but On Broadway kind of ran a, what's that, campaign, I guess, of sorts, to vote for this concert to be brought to Green Bay. They got awarded a grant to bring this concert in, and we're excited about the opportunity to have concerts at Light Park again throughout the summer. Tuesday nights.
It's on council night.
It's council night.
I'm just thinking.
But you can come at 5:30, the first band opens, so you can come to the first band and then go to council and then finish up the night, so.
Any of our councils down there.
Yeah, like it says here, it's Tuesday nights, June 18th through August 27th. There is one Tuesday where they're gonna skip, that week that Tall Ships is coming in. They're skipping that week, but otherwise, just to give you an example of what this looks like, The park will open, or the doors open, at 5 o'clock. 5:30, the first act will open up, and then they'll have a little gap in there, and the headliner will be from about 7 to 8 o'clock. So it's not like this is going to be into the night type thing. Everything will be, teared down by pretty much 9 o'clock at night. And it's got a very family-friendly atmosphere, local bands that are also very popular though. So it's not going to be just any, band. It's not open mic night. It's actually legit bands that are coming in that is going to draw a crowd, but not like an overwhelming type crowd. I mean, you're talking maybe on a good night when it's nice out, 1,000 people. So they are going to want to serve alcohol, food, and just have a nice family fun night on Tuesday nights down at Lake Park.
So who would be serving the food and alcohol? The businesses on Broadway or this group?
Well, I'm sure they'll contract with
Okay.
somebody to serve that. I don't know who that will be in particular, but
Answer
I
it if
didn't,
you'd
I
like.
didn't, yeah.
I mean, we would manage it exactly the same way that we manage all of our other events, including Ignite Market, Farmers Market, but we have an exclusive relationship with the distributor, and then typically we will work with businesses in the district or food trucks on the food side.
Alderman Nicholson?
I gotta know what kind of beer is gonna be served here. If it's Budweiser or Miller. Can you
I
answer
don't-
that?
I don't drink,
Neither.
so.
Oh, it isn't? Oh, definitely, I can't vote for
Big
this.
Tinseltown.
Yep.
And,
We work with the local breweries.
All right, I think I can work with that.
Alderman LaFave?
I just want to make sure when you do this that you keep them from leaving the premises with alcohol.
Security is on site. We work with the
What's
local
wrong
police
Make sure
department.
that you
I mean,
write.
you can do it during
when you do
Packer
that,
games.
so that- You what?
You can walk all over the city during a Packer game, what's the
I-
difference?
I know.
All right.
Well,
So
that's
we-
another issue.
So we
that
do
you
have
got-
security in
Yeah.
place,
Just
to
make
kind of
sure.
monitor
Right, right.
entrances, okay?
Yeah, because I don't think they should. And when they do 4th of July downtown, I think it's a Zoom.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
it's
you're
terrible.
fine with this then?
Yeah, I
Okay.
should mention, the group has came in, they met with special event committee for the city, they've gone through all the ordinances and policies and liquor license and security plans, it's all been approved, so.
That's nice that we got it, good job on Broadway.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Alderman Nicholson, second by Alderman Burnett, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Just let the record reflect that I've abstained.
Number 4, consideration with possible action on the purchase of 1705 East Shore Circle, parcel 21439 for the expansion of Bay Beach Amusement Park.
All right, so I will kind of hand out some photos of the house that we're referring to. And you have a copy of the map showing where the location is in relation to Bay Beach Amusement Park. I'll just give a very brief summary. Yeah. I'll just give you a very brief summary of what this project is, and then we do have members of the public who probably would like to speak. And then I would recommend that we go into closed session to talk about the price and other things like that. And then we'll open it back up for the motion. So if you'll take a look at the site plan, which is in your packet, this is the house directly to the east of Bay Beach Amusement Park. So if you're familiar with the East Side train, the original train ride that was always there, this is the house that's right at the end of the train where it makes the loop coming back to the station. It's in very close proximity to that train track. And then if you look at the map, you'll see that the property directly adjacent to the east of that is owned by the city of Green Bay. So we have owned that property. I've been with the city since 2000. We've owned it ever since then and probably 10, 15 years prior to that. So there's always been that desire to kind of make that connection there. Also, that property was purchased, I think, for a connection to the wildlife sanctuary so that they could have access to the waterfront if ever they wanted without ever after having to enter Bay Beach Amusement Park. So that was the purpose of buying that. What we would use this for is just general park expansion. That's what we're looking towards right now, so we don't have a specific use in mind. We can talk about what potential uses would be, but if the city were to go ahead with the purchase of this property, we would definitely create a conceptual plan of what that space could be utilized for. So at this point, I would just say let's open it up to the public for comments and questions.
Move to open the
I just
floor.
Sorry.
I just want to mention one thing too right
All
away.
right, all those in favor will recognize you first, then we'll open the floor.
Okay,
Go ahead.
yeah. That field next to it, I don't know if Dan realizes, that has to be left open because that is an access. If Steve Grenier was here, he'd probably say, wait a minute, that's an access to the dike, all the way down the 2 miles. It's one of the access.
Easement?
Yes, it's left open, yep,
Okay.
so that they can go in and maintain the dike. And they're gonna have to do it next year because we had damage on the dike with that storm that we had, the wind. So this year, they're going through and they're taking trees down that either came up or people planted on the dike. They're gonna go through and people put stuff on the dike. So that has to always be left open so that it can be, otherwise it goes all the way down to Dan's. And I don't think they'd be happy having to go to Dan's, come all the way back. So, you know, there's certain access points to that dike. And actually, it is, people could walk in that field and go to the dike. So it is city, right, city owned, but I don't know if Dan was aware that it has to be left open for the access of the big,
And we
you know,
can,
equipment to come
take
in.
that into account with them conceptual like we did.
Right, so I
when we
just
talked
want to know
Steve.
that.
All
Okay,
right, thank you.
and then,
I know there was a
Motion
motion.
on the floor for interested parties.
Motion by Nicholson.
Second.
Second by Johnson. To open the floor. Those in favor?
All right.
Aye, opposed, motion carried. If you wanna speak, you can either just come up here, it might be easier to hear you, or come up, have a seat. Give us your name and address. Yes, have a seat, you don't have to stand. Or not like that. Neil, no. See, this is much more comfortable.
go ahead.
Welcome.
Seth Colmer, 1737 East Shore Circle.
All right,
A couple properties down from the parcel in question. To be, my opinion is, I would express, I'm strongly opposed to the city purchasing this property and moving the Bay Beach Amusement Park proper closer to the residences along East Shore Circle. We have enough issues already with goers crossing into our yards, coming right down the dike. That is private property up to the water. They can be in the water, but they cannot be up on land. One of the concerns is the development of this park, this parcel into the park as potential parking. I heard one of the options is possibly to open up our circle and take that walking path and connect it to the parking lot itself. That would increase our traffic down our circle immensely already. That's already double parking down the way. It's very difficult to come in and out of driveways the way it is with that amount of parking. Making that a thoroughfare would become a major traffic problem for us. We don't have a police presence really in the area already. We have enough problems with drugs. We had gunshots the other night. We don't need expansion closer to us. There's already a fence that divides on that parcel, divides their private property from the park. It acts as a very natural barrier. There's a hedge that goes down. Again, it's a very natural barrier. It keeps people from coming out. I mean, to be honest, if we had our choice, we would ask the city to make a gate that went all the way out to the dike already to keep people from coming down onto our property already, so.
We made that request a couple times to have a gate, we still haven't gotten it.
okay.
Not to mention with the price of what that property is going to be, just from a city perspective, the amount of money that's gonna take to purchase it, I'm gonna guess at minimum $260,000, $300,000 already. I'm guessing that money can probably be better used for improving existing parks throughout the city already for small projects, improvements, or even something a little larger.
And I want to mention that.
Well, let's do one at a time here.
Okay.
And
Let them
we'll-
talk and then
yeah,
I will.
yeah,
Okay.
So we were gonna do. Anything else, Mr. Coleman? Otherwise, Homer, correct?
Yes.
Homer? Okay.
And then just from an expense point, I just know if they do decide to tear the building down, they're gonna have to completely remediate it. It's a nice building already. Even if the city decided and said, we're gonna keep the building and use it for some other purpose, maybe, I don't know, a pavilion, maybe we'll use access to the public, maybe we'll use it for offices. There's no guarantee. The city can't give us a guarantee that the building would never be torn down or used for another purpose in the future anyway. And to tear down that building, it's gonna be a complete remediation, probably an additional $40,000. To tear the building down, remove the basement, backfill, compact, and use it. So,
Questions? Alderman Burnett?
Yes, thank you for coming, sir. What was your name again? I'm just looking at your property on the map.
Seth Colmer, 1737 for
So
short.
you're 4 doors down.
Yep.
Four-
Right,
four
because of the-
properties
Yep,
down
from the
there.
existing line.
So do you think that this would affect your property value in a negative way?
I do. To be honest, the house that's there is one of the higher valued homes on the street art to begin with.
It's a beautiful house.
It is, it's a gorgeous
one of
house,
the-
extremely well maintained.
My personal opinion is that it's just kind of a charming little thing, growing up going to Bay Beach and just knowing the house is always there. So, thank you.
Any other
Thank you.
questions? Anyone else want to
Me,
name and address, please?
Mark Olson Guillen, I'm 1721 East Short Circle, right next to that house, or that property, right between us, next to the house that's supposedly it's gonna be sold, or the city wants to buy. Again, with going along with Seth, I'm totally against this purchase from the city. Having kids, we already worry about the safety of our kids, with all the shady stuff that goes on at Bay Beach in the middle of the night that is not reported. I know some people don't see it, but with us living there, we see it. People walking along our property, just random people. We've had several, or at least 2 for sure, robberies. Just on the safety part of this matter, it's just, yeah, with 2 kids, it's just would not be a good choice I think for me to agree with this sale of this property. Again, back in the day when they were building Bay Beach, why did they put the train right next to this house? I mean, it just doesn't make sense. You have all that land on the other side. You have all this land on the other side. Why not go the other way? I mean, leave this beautiful property there and some family come and enjoy it and, buy the house and enjoy it next to Bay Beach. I mean, we go to Bay Beach, my kids and I, my family and I go to Bay Beach a lot, we're right next to it, but again, in the middle of the night with the safety things that go on, it just wouldn't be in my opinion, wouldn't be a good thing to do.
You mind taking the question?
Yeah.
Alderman
Sir,
Burnett?
thank you also for appearing. Do you feel that if the city purchases property and develops it as part of Bay Beach, that would have a negative impact on your property
Absolutely.
value?
Yeah, absolutely. With the lot between us, I mean, there are no plans. I mean, I heard we will have plans. Who knows what the plans will be? We don't have, we hear different scenarios of what could happen with this property. Just what Seth said, all these people that park in our street, it's just, again, I'm thinking safety issue with my kids, with all these people getting closer to us. So,
Any
That's
other
all.
questions,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Coleman?
Thank you, sir.
Okay. And, yes, sir, your name and address?
Randy Westberg, 1815 East Shore Drive.
Yeah.
Down a little bit further from the property, but still right in the area there. I don't really see this as a fiscally responsible thing to do. One, you're taking a magnificent property off the tax rolls. 2, you talked about the aesthetics, and yes, the train goes around there, and look at all the people that look at that house and say, wow, that's a really neat house. Green Bay is pretty cool. So you're losing not only the property value, the property tax on it, you're also losing the aesthetic value that is a Green Bay image. Besides the fact, the safety and other things that are going on. But I think the money could be much, much better used in other areas, in other parks, or even if it was talked about that eventually that might be parking lot. Bay Beach already owns a ton of land there that could easily be, parking could be expanded with only the construction costs and some drainage issues without having to buy that expensive property. So I just don't see that as a fiscally responsible or PR thing for Green Bay, good thing to do.
Mind taking a question?
Sure.
Alderman Brunette?
Thank you also for appearing. You live in that neighborhood, but not directly in the vicinity, you said?
Yeah, I'm down a few more houses from that.
Do you believe that the city purchasing and developing the land for Bay Beach would impact your property value and/or those around the property?
Mine itself, I don't really think so. I think it would affect the safety of my property and my grandkids walk along there to Bay Beach and those things. I think it would affect more in that area than actually property values of me. I think the closer you get to that, the bigger the impact of the property value would be.
Apologies, your address again?
1815 East Shore Drive.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else here for this item? Anybody else here in the public?
Question or something, Kathy?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Okay, Mr. Olson, Ian?
Well, Kathy you were pointing at me.
Yeah, last year there was an incident that happened. There was this car that, it was real erratic.
Oh,
Remember, I
Yeah.
think he came across the field or something, he was pointing at our house, he was moving here. We didn't go out because we were afraid, actually, we didn't know what was going on. Mark, you called first, and I called the cops. It was how long before they came?
it took a long time, seemed like forever. So it was this person who actually had possibly a stroke or something.
Yeah.
So he came and parked right in my driveway, right in the front part of my driveway. And I was just looking and I thought maybe he was just gonna turn around. And I just let it be for a while. And then it took like 10 minutes, and then I just told my wife, something's right, should I go check? It was already dark.
I apologize if I'm cutting in here, but does this have anything to do with
Well-
whether we should?
well, we're
purchase-
talking
Okay,
about
this
the
is another-
safety.
to the
Interesting
safety-
story,
The
but-
safety thing too,
This
so
is the
that why do
safety.
we wanna bring more park over further to us? This was a safety
All right,
thing.
But how
We
did-
were
how
afraid
did-
to go out
what did that
and
have
take
to
care
do
of
with
it.
Park, I'm not sure.
But it does, with moving
All right.
Safety.
park
All right, thanks.
more.
Thinking about people
We're talking about
cars.
safety on
Any
that, so I
other-
just wanted to bring that
Any
up.
other comments or questions? Otherwise, I think we have one more gentleman in the back there.
Okay, and I just wanted to mention too, Randy and Dana, they've lived there, when did you move in?
76 or something like that.
Okay, and you know, I'm right next to Marco and Amy, and we've been there since 72. We've been there a long time, and I enjoy the park. I love the park. I go in there a lot, you know, ride the rides and everything, and I enjoy the people coming into the park. I think it's a great park. There's plenty of access for people to be out on the dike, especially now, you know, the bay, especially if they're gonna put the beach in. I mean, there's gonna be plenty of access. We don't need this house. And I really say, I find it terrible that you're thinking, with even down the road, thinking of tearing that house down.
Which,
That's,
Okay, if I could, just for full disclosure, you're at 1731 East Shore Circle, right in between
yeah.
Correct.
both of you, okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Mr.
And there are problems with, yeah, people coming down. And like I said, we requested, I don't know how many times, to have a gate put up. You know, they have that big, they have their wooden fence and have a
Yep,
gate
we did
with
hear
a
that one
sign.
before, so did you have anything else, Mr. Olson?
yeah, I mean, just going along again with the beach as well. I mean, you open that up, tear that house down, you open it up, you bring all these people closer to our house. You know, I have kids, I don't want people to be in the middle of the night, and it's not gonna be, who's gonna patrol this? You know, who's going to clean the beach also? Like, I don't understand, like,
Right.
when
And
they
Mar-
make these decisions, they should talk to people who live by the water and know what's going on. You know, some of these people, they just make decisions like, yeah, let's make a beach. It's not gonna be that easy. You know, who's gonna keep up the beach clean, you know?
Any
it's-
other comments on regarding this property?
And Marco has a dog too. What happens if somebody opened his gate in the back
All right,
with the dog, you know?
so you think more
So I think
likely
there's
we'll
different
see
things, so
locations?
we wanna
dog
make
or
sure that
a
we're not
puppy?
moving them more.
It's a full dog.
It's a big dog.
dog.
Well, I mean, if it gets out, is it gonna bite people?
No.
No,
Oh,
no, it
okay.
just,
I mean,
Alright.
if they come to our property, he's gonna let you know that you're not supposed to be there.
No,
The,
very good.
the
you know?
concern is the movement of the beach closer to us by the purchase of this property would increase neighborhood safety concerns.
And that's what we've heard overall from everybody. Alderman Johnson.
So I've heard some discussion about, again, like people that might come and open gates, or more people are gonna come down the beach. I mean, are these things that this property currently has to endure? I mean, are we seeing these people come to this property? I mean, the way that we're expecting them to come to your properties if this property were purchased?
We do see some of that now, with people coming from Bay Beach all the way down to my house. And the sanctuary entrance is here, I'm like 2 houses down. People come all the way down on the dike now. So there is, not masses, but enough that you are a little concerned over the property safety and whatnot, who's casing the houses.
And there's been crimes of opportunity. My house was broken into a couple of years ago. The police officer that investigated determined that it was probably a adolescent that had come down from Bay Beach. We found a bag sack lunch that was left behind. They just came through a window. It was just they had wandered through, all the gates were open, they just wandered down. The big thing is that the current property has a natural barrier. It has a fence, it has a hedgerow, narrow path, hedgerow, pond. It creates this natural barrier that the only real access is coming through up on the top of the dike, and that's where people access. If you make it where now it's an open field, it just eliminates that barrier. It makes it easier or more susceptible for people to wander down.
So hypothetically, and of course, we're gonna have to discuss this yet, but if the city were to purchase this and committed to creating some type of fencing barrier, on the end of the property for which we already own, would that help ease some concerns?
I think it would help ease from the park department's point of view. However, I think this needs to be a more holistic discussion with the city as a whole, with the police department. We need to understand the plan for it. We would want, probably, to be honest, we want a commitment that the home would remain. We really wouldn't want it torn down. We need to be put into the loop. Is there a greater plan here for the rest of our properties? Is there going to be a effort to start purchasing more of ours, which we don't want to sell or leave? I guess we like the status quo and we're hoping to keep it that way.
And when you say there's a fencing, where would this fence be? Right next to the property next to me?
And I guess I don't know. I'm just
Okay.
trying to get a sense of if they're, again, I too want to understand what the intentions are for the purpose, for the purchase of this property. I'm just trying to understand that, it seems to me at least that what is appreciated or valued right now is that this property acts as a buffer. And so what I'm trying to do is get a sense of if in fact this purchase is in the best interest of the city, which I don't know yet. Could that buffer be replaced in another way that would help satisfy the needs of the neighborhood? So again, a lot of unanswered questions, but that's essentially what I'm trying to determine from you, is if you felt that, that would alleviate some of those concerns.
I think, Martha, if they did, you would want it on Joe and Donna's property.
Right,
On the
that's
east
why I
side, not the
asked.
field.
That's why I asked,
Because
when you're
he's-
talking about a barrier and a fence, would that be on the other side of their property, or are you gonna come, since the property is gonna be owned by the city, and the lot next to me and their lot, they're between us, it's also owned by the city, would the fence be right next to me? Or will you put the fence
Yeah, I think
next
we're
to
probably
it?
getting
I think
into some
undetermined.
rules.
So what I'm
Yeah.
thinking is
I'm
like,
gonna
why
bring
would
it
I
back
want a
up here
big fence,
because
right next to
it's
my
become a little
house?
bit more of a round table, and I'm gonna just take a little bit more control here if we can. Does anybody have any more questions for anyone? Okay, I think there's another gentleman in the back who want to speak, perhaps?
Sure.
If I could just get your name and address.
Dave Charles. I'm here on behalf of the Friends for Bay Beach. Some of us have met in the past. I hope you've all had a chance to see your new Ferris wheel. We hope to have it open in 2-3 weeks if all goes well, so it's going along. Anyway, several years ago, back when Donnie Kramer was Parks Director, and we put the 25-year plan together for the park, and the entire renovation program was put together. We spent some time looking at the vacant lot, which is there currently, and that house which they're talking about acquiring right now. And Donnie had a good relationship with the people and had expressed interest to them that should it ever become available and they're moving, we would like to acquire it. And they've always said whenever they're ready to go, they would give Bay Beach a very good deal. And we thought it important for a number of reasons. One is we want to create a bigger buffer between the neighborhood and the park. And the second thing, for some family that would move in there that hasn't been used to the park and everything there could be some blowback on the park. A new family moves in, ooh, we want the lights off, we don't want people around. you know, because they're a new, so it's better for us to A, acquire the property, B, create a bigger buffer, work out obviously something with the fence or whatever you talked about. That's Dan's job and he's gonna take care of that. You know, there's all this confusion, right? Can you walk across the property? Can everybody go up and down the dike? Is it really not public property? You know, you've seen 3 different views tonight. That has to be dealt with, but that's, you know, the opportunity we have is this only comes up once every 40 or 50 years. And our ability to acquire this property, there was some concern about financing, just so you understand, no city money will go to this project. Bay Beach will pay for this purchase out of its revenue and its funding or funds that are raised. So, you know, there's no issue with, did they take it from somebody else and use it to do this? The park stands on its own, pays its own bills, and, you know, creates opportunities to make this acquisition. So I just hope everybody gives this a serious thought. It's not gonna happen very often that we're gonna be able to do this. It's a great opportunity. They've offered us a wonderful below market price on it. What'll be done with it? That, you know, again, that's issue for the future and the Parks Department. You know, I mean, pretty sure they're not gonna put a Ferris wheel down there. It is a beautiful piece of property, and the view of the bay, which is what we're working on, should be protected and used there, but let people use it, you know, because it's a gorgeous place. So anyway, just wanted to say from our standpoint, we're supporting the Park Department any way necessary to help them acquire this property, and they're gonna have lots of, you know, funds available, so it's not a funding issue at all this year. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Charles?
I do not have any questions.
Anybody else have any,
Yeah.
any comments for the committee? So everything comes up.
It concerns me that the talk about not, right now, the talk about not building something there, you know, and down the road, it turns out that they put a big ride right next to my house, so it does concern me. It's not convincing me. They put the train right next to the neighbor's house right now. It's, what, 20 feet away from their property line? What makes us say that they're not gonna come back and say, we're gonna build this giant whatever right next to your house? You know, if you know, if it's being talked, or if it's proposed, or if it's being put on the line or put on paper of what they're gonna do, and stay with it, we can look at it. But right now, just to hear words and just say, you know, just bite the mouth and just say we're not gonna build, it concerns me a lot.
Question? Alderman?
No question, I'd just
Okay.
like to make a motion to close the floor.
Yeah, we can do that. Motion to close the floor.
Second.
Second by Alderman Nicholson. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. So the committee is going to discuss it a little bit right now, and Alderman LaFave, do you want to vote
Not
on
just
closing the
that
floor?
Yes, yeah, go ahead. You can
Those in
close the
favor?
floor, 'cause I
Do we
can,
vote yes?
I can
Aye,
speak.
okay. Opposed? Motion carried.
yeah. I really oppose it because of that beautiful property, and I just, you don't need any more frontage to view the bay, to sit and watch it. You know, for years, and I got them to finally take the phragmites down. You had phragmites. If you sat up on that dike, you couldn't see over the phragmites. You didn't value the bay. Now all of a sudden, oh, we value the bay. Well, so I really oppose it, not just because I live there, but, you know, support the neighbors too. I think this is, I don't care where the money comes from, I think it's a waste of money. That you have, and you got all that property on the west side, and you have plans for it, comes from them or from the city, why don't you finish your plans there first, before you consider buying another piece of property and doing something with that? You know, well, we talked about the Coleman Pool, same thing. Finish the projects that you have on plan to do before you start something new again. And I think it's waste, no matter where the money comes from, it's a waste. And I'll get more people in the neighborhood just opposing this. We'll come to city council and we'll just talk and talk, I mean, because that is terrible, to even consider tearing that
Thank you.
house down.
Thank you, Alderman.
So,
Alderman LaFave, Alderman Johnson.
Dan, just a couple of questions for you. Do we have any specific plans after, if the city were to acquire this, do we have any specific plans to do something with the house or the property?
We don't have a conceptual plan on hand right now.
So if we were to purchase the property, it would remain vacant until such a plan were developed?
Yes, I mean, it would remain vacant for the short term until we develop a plan and secure funding to develop it
Okay.
into whatever that ends up being.
And then, so knowing that there's no conceptual plan, I mean, it just, is it plausible for us to purchase a property and put in a clause that basically says we won't build something here?
I don't know,
I just want to know if it's an option. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do.
I mean, that's one of those things where I'd have to defer to the law department. You know, the question is, would you want to put that restriction on it or not? You know, plans could change 20 years from now. I guess it's tough to say at this point
Right.
whether or not you'd want to put that restriction on it, but it's something we could consider.
And could we make a commitment to, if we were to buy it, could we make a commitment to the construction of some type of barrier as a contingency of that purchase?
I don't have a problem at all putting some sort of a physical barrier in between or adjacent to that house, in between the park property and that
Okay.
house.
And
What that is, and we can work with the owner on it as far as whether it's a fence or landscape or a combination, but I would think that that's an acceptable
Okay.
solution.
And then per some of the, last question here, per some of the comments that Alder LaFave made about that piece of property that's currently under city ownership and the access to the dike, I guess could you maybe share more information about your knowledge of that site? Is there an easement on that? Does that need to remain clear? What do we know about that piece of
I
property?
don't have a lot of knowledge about that, so I'll have to talk to Steve, and I can answer those questions at the council if it comes up.
Okay, I think it'll be important that whatever decision the committee makes, we'll likely debate this at council. I do think it's important that that information be available.
Sure.
Alderman Burnett, we'll go back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and for me, it's sort of a two-part situation. The first part is I'm assuming the seller of the property will probably discuss the price in closed session, obviously, but they're probably at the point where they want to sell. So they need to have an answer, yes or no, are we interested? The second part of that is if the purchase is completed, and at such point, the Parks Department in coordination with the Friends of Bay Beach decide what will be there, what will be put there, how it will be developed, will that then be public, will that be open to public discussion so the neighbors could oppose whatever plan at that time? Does the Parks Department and Friends of Bay Beach have to go through the public planning process, just like any other parcel throughout the city?
I don't think that the parks is required to do that, but we try to do that in a lot of circumstances, in most circumstances. So with the master plan for Bay Beach, that was a public process.
Right.
Now, in particular, in the master plan, it doesn't discuss these two parcels in that master plan, but I don't have a problem getting public input on it and then making an informed decision on that.
For a lot of planning issues, don't we notice 200 feet, property owners within 200 feet, for example, Colburn Park, if we were gonna make some improvement there?
We do not do that for the Parks
Because we're a
Department.
government entity that we don't have?
We are not mandated by ordinance to notify adjacent property owners like Public Works would do for a road project, because that affects ingress and egress from their driveways, et cetera. We're not required to do that for the parks. We do a lot of projects in the parks. If they're large projects, we usually do go to the neighborhood association and discuss it with them, to get input on those particular
Right.
parks. But we're not required to by ordinance or by code to do so.
So Colburn Park, back when Mr. Weary here was going through the Rush Aquatic Center, and at one time the park was going to be, were you at the Parks Department
Yes,
at
I
the
was.
time?
Yep.
What is now what Rush was going to go at Colburn.
Mhm.
And the neighbors are very concerned because of the cutting down of trees, the traffic flow in and out. What process was the information shared then? Was it just public information? Was it a mailer? How do people know?
In that instance, I'd have to kind of refresh my memory, but I know we did have public input meetings in regards to Fisk Park and what to do with it, whether to save it, whether to remove it. And so those discussions did happen at Fisk, same thing they did at Colburn. You know, but they don't happen for every single development in the parks.
Right, so I guess the main issue that I'm getting at, and I'm facing this within my own district, is how do we notify the public? And how do we allow people who are most affected by changes to their neighborhood and changes to properties within their neighborhood, how it will affect them, and what right do we give them to address a government body like this? So I guess my concern is, and this is why the urgency perhaps is right here, is that if we approve this purchase, what I'm hearing is the parks can basically, not that you would, but the parks could basically do whatever they want, public be damned. Again, that's just my thought, I'm just saying.
Just if we put a communication and we can address that at
Right.
some other meeting and make that an ordinance.
I will say too
No,
that
we're discussing
oftentimes,
property.
oftentimes we do bring concepts, park concepts to the park committee for review and discussion, and we've done that many times. So, and we can do that in this location also, to discuss the concept of what it would be in the
And it could
future,
be, we could make it a requirement of the parcel.
if that's what you want to do.
I
Something that's
apologize
an
for
option.
using the D word. Just, it came to me.
Any other questions for staff right now?
Do you want to go in closed session?
We do need to negotiate the
Okay.
price, right?
No?
Yeah, I have one other thing to
Okay.
bring up. Dan was in front, I'm sorry. I met with Dan the other day, and you mentioned some different options that you may be looking for the property. One was moving the offices from Bay Beach into the house, and our R&B, which we would definitely oppose. The other three are tear downs. Volleyball, picnic area, parking on it. The parking, and this doesn't work because taking the sidewalk between the park and over to the sanctuary entrance, he wants to make that a road for access into the property. The reason the road was cul-de-sac many years ago was because it went through the park and you had cars going through. You don't want cars going through that park. You're gonna have people coming up that road and they're just gonna zoop right into that, you know, so you're gonna have problems with kids and, you know, people moving because you're going right through kind of the middle of the park. That's why the road was cul-de-sac years ago, is because of the problem with, you know, traffic going through
Okay.
the middle of the park. So these concepts are, you know.
Okay, anything else, all in favor, before we go into?
No.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to go into closed session,
Yes, you can
and then we'll
say-
discuss it, then we'll come back
You
out
can-
again.
You can wait
So,
if you want. Oh,
yeah.
no.
Oh, okay, thank you.
who would like to make the motion?
I would make that motion, but I don't have the language in front of me. Can I borrow your pad? Andy?
Oh,
Motion by
Oh, yeah,
Johnson,
go ahead.
second by Alder Burnett.
Yes, for discussion though,
Okay, under discussion?
is it to discuss the price tag? Is that the main
Yes.
reason why we're going?
That's the
No,
main
it would
one.
be for purchase.
Charles would be part of that, wouldn't he? Nope. Okay.
So, yes, I would need to.
Is there a second?
Those in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Who wants to read it?
The committee may convene in closed session pursuant to sections 19.85, subsection I, subsection E, which is 1E, Wisconsin statutes for purpose of deliberating or negotiating the sale of public properties, investing public funds, or conducting other specified public business as necessary for competitive or bargaining reasons. The committee may thereafter reconvene in open session pursuant to section 19.82, subsection 2 Wisconsin statutes to report the results of the closed session and consider the balance of the agenda.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion
No.
carried on closed session. 3-1.
I just want, before we go and discuss.
Let's buy two more properties.
In closed session?
We're off,
Yeah,
closed session.
we're in closed right now, right?
go ahead.
Hey, Kathy, did you,
But,
what did you just say?
no, I just.
She just told them it was a 3-1 vote again. for.
Kathy, you're
Oh,
out
I'm
of
sorry.
order.
I'm sorry,
No,
yes, I should.
that is not.
That's really illegal, Kathy. You
That
could get
is.
in big trouble with the
I did
law.
something, yeah. I do apologize, I did.
Otherwise, and This has to come up, I mean, do you do this in other opens, in other closed
No.
sessions?
No, I don't, I'm sorry.
So free
I
to give out
apologize.
All right, I'm just warning you, what you do in closed session is
Yeah,
closed
I
session
gotta
for a
be
reason.
careful.
All right,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
all right, we're back in open session, and what are the committee's wishes?
I move that,
I'm sorry.
motion to go back in open session.
Who made the motion?
move to,
Second,
go back in the
and
open session.
Brent, those in favor? Aye.
Yep, thanks.
Let's make a motion that we move forward as directed in closed session.
Second.
There's a motion by Alderman Johnson, second by Alderman Nicholson to move forward as discussed in closed session. Can we be more detailed about that, or?
I would leave it like that.
All right,
I think there was enough said
discussion
tonight.
from the committee? All right, those in favor?
All right.
Aye, opposed? No. All right, the motion carried 3-1. This will go to
Motion to
council.
adjourn.
Well, hold on. This,
Oh.
this goes to council next week, Tuesday. It's at 6 o'clock. Council chambers. So whatever we do here can be debated there. All right, thanks. Is that the last item?
Yes, just
Oh,
director's
Director's
report.
report.
So I just have a few things here to discuss with you. All right, so Prairie Burn over at Bear Creek Greenway, that's scheduled to be on May 16th. So if you want to be involved with that, just let us know, or if you want more information, just let us know that too.
We can help burn
So
stuff.
it's pretty exciting, so. We have applied for 2 DNR stewardship grants. One was to help fund construction costs for a pedestrian bridge at Baird Creek. And then the other one was to help fund the beach pier and boardwalk construction project. So we'll keep you informed if the DNR grants either one of those. East River Optimist, the parking lot and walkways that will be under construction soon, along with the Red Smith Shelter project. Both will be starting in the next few weeks. Over at Bay Beach, we did hold the Golden Memories Ball. That was held last Friday. That was a big success, so we've been doing that for about 5-6 years now. It's really a great event, and it was successful again this year. The park officially opened 2 weekends ago, and we've had great weather and great turnout there, so we're pretty happy with Bay Beach so far. And then on May 16th, from 5 to 6:30, we do have a Park Perk Summer Kickoff Party at Delaney's Park. So it's just an event to kind of kick off our summer park programming schedule. So if you can make it to that event, that would be great.
What is the expected opening for the new Ferris wheel?
I don't have an exact timeline, but it'll be in a couple of weeks. And we will put out a press release giving out that information shortly.
Late May, early June-ish,
We'll let you know.
before our next council meeting? I mean, that's about the third week in June, or still.
We'll let you know. I mean,
If it's
it's a
ready-
couple of weeks out.
If it's done in time, I would like, and we talked about this before having our committee meeting out there.
Mhm.
I think it'd be a unique thing.
Okay.
Right. We can get a little
We'll
tour and
keep
see
that in
what's
mind.
going on, right?
Be nice.
All right, motion to adjourn was by
Motion to
Nicholson.
adjourn.
Those in favor?
Second.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried, we're adjourned. We'll tour the
And
committee.
again, I apologize. I got upset that you're not even listening to the neighbors. I'm sorry. That's why I just got upset.
Well, maybe you need to talk with the district attorney, Kathy,
I know.
because you
I
broke
know.
the law.
And you did, yeah.
And there's witnesses, and
Yep.
you gotta watch your mouth.
I know. Watch my temper. Watch my temper. I just got very upset. I apologize. I shouldn't.
This wasn't like some
So,
massive negotiation.
I don't think it's a